Ashley's been removed as CEO's Jabot. Meanwhile, Billy tells Summer and Phyllis the real reason he slept with Summer, and Nick just won't give up on Sharon. Stay tuned for this week's Restless Wrap.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hey everyone, I'm Rachel Goodman here with another week of Restless Wrap. This week was very, very, very gut-wrenching and heartfelt, and I don't know about you guys, but it was at moments very uncomfortable to watch. And that just goes to show how amazing the acting was this week. That's the first thing I want to start off just by giving a shout out to everyone on YNR this week, because the acting was phenomenal. It was so realistic that, just for a random example, when we had a, Phyllis Summer moment, it just was, almost, because of the circumstances, very, very, awkward to watch. But we'll get into Phyllis and Summer in a second. Let's start off by giving everyone in the chat a shout out. We have Zoe Johnson, Rainy J, Chelsea Brown, Demo, Hubby Joe, Simone Francois, Doulaman, American Prince 1, and Susan Russo, if I didn't say that already. Thank you guys for joining. As always, I will be reading your comments live as you leave them. And if you are not watching live, feel free to leave a comment and I will read it on the air next time. We have Hubby Joe. Hi, Rachel. Hi, Hubby Joe. And we have Demo. Hi, Rachel. All right, so let's go ahead and let's just hop in here. We have a lot to say this week. Let's start with Jabot. We already have Doulaman asking, what was the document that Kyle and Dina found at the end? We'll get there in a second. As far as I know, they didn't reveal what it was, but it would be kind of twisted if it somehow reveals that Ashley is definitely not Brett's daughter somehow after all this, though I thought there was a DNA test for that. Carmen Trance is here. Hi, Carmen. Okay, so hopping in and talking about Jabot this week, we had a lot happening. So as we know from, not this week, but the week before, Ashley had revealed that Jack was actually John Abbott's son, and that she had basically worked a deal up with the DNA guy Andrew to get him to fudge the second DNA test result, not the first one, as we discovered what happened. So when we pick up this week, she was back with everyone, kind of where we left them, in Jabot's office, all discussing what she had done, and everyone in that room, especially Abby, especially Jack, but Abby just couldn't believe her mother would do this. So we spent the whole week kind of not dealing with Abby, but watching Abby deal with her emotions in regards to her mother and what her mother had been doing. But Ashley and Jack end up talking privately, where Jack you can tell he's upset, but he actually was trying to give her, not the benefit of the doubt, but he was trying to at least give her a chance to explain herself. It seemed like what I was getting from Jack is that he just wanted to fix the relationship with his sister more so than, stay mad at her, though he was, very, understandably so, livid at the situation, livid that Ashley, the biggest problem he had was that Ashley watched him go down his dark spiral. She watched him go to the cabin house. She heard, I don't know if she actually saw the pills, but she saw Jack go back down a dangerous path. He apparently had contacted one of his old dealers. He got drugs. He was going down a dark path. Ashley watched all this and still didn't tell him the truth. That's what he was getting out with this whole thing, is that it's one thing for her to have done this, but then when she saw how it affected him, she just let him deal with it instead of come and, fess up to the truth. So as we get into this conversation, they start showing some flashbacks, things that we may have seen and before, and then actually some things we did not see. So first we have the flashback with Ashley. Okay. This is the part that I really did not like. There's a flashback with Ashley where she is clearly manipulating Dina into thinking that Dina had an affair and that Jack was not actually an Abbott. That was the worst part of this for me. I don't know about you guys, everyone who's in the chat now, if you want to like tell me the worst part of this whole Ashley and Jabot situation, I'd love to hear what you think. For me, the worst part was of this Jabot situation. There's another worse part situation I have with Billy, but we'll get there in after we're done talking about Jabot. With Ashley, the worst thing that to me that came out of this was not even what it did to Jack, but the fact that she would manipulate Dina, who was suffering from Alzheimer's, and push her into this direction of thinking she had an affair. And just everything, like when we saw Ashley with Dina later, just how she was making her feel in general. And I get that Ashley has this strained relationship with her mother, that there's just been so many things that they've gone back and forth dealing with. I get that. But just for me, it was heartbreaking watching Ashley, who is in complete control of her faculties and her mind, pushing this woman to believing something that's not actually true when she knows that Dina is in a place where Ashley can or anyone could manipulate her. So seeing that was the hardest part for me. Ashley ends up admitting to Jack that, yeah, she was the one who tampered with the video, the one that Jack thought that Victor tampered with when there was this big screening because Victor happened to be there. Ashley's the one who tampered with that. Jack, at this point, Jack's like, okay, well, why would you do this not just to me, but to Kyle, who's my son? Like, you're also hurting him. And Ashley turns around and tries to say, well, Kyle's really not loyal to you either. Look at what he did. He knew about Dina's paternity long before you did. And yeah, I get it. Kyle has his shady moments. Kyle is obviously in it to win it too. And he, we could see him as easily turn on Jack as he would anyone else, including Ashley. And even when he was dealing with Ashley and they were trying to oust Billy, just the things that Kyle was that Kyle was willing to do kind of shows his character. But just kind of touching on Kyle really fast, I feel like after this whole experience, Kyle is starting to change into a better person. So let's touch in with the chat really fast here. Demo, Ashley didn't even feel bad for switching the tests, which is sad. Yeah, that's the problem I was having with her too. As we're going through this week, eventually Tracy and Abby take Ashley, Tracy and Abby go home after this, after the whole confrontation. They end up talking to Ashley about this, and Ashley can't even, she eventually says sorry to Billy and to Abby for bringing them into this. But she doesn't even feel any kind of remorse for what she's done at all to Jack, which is ridiculous. And the whole thing is not to get into this even further here, but let's get into this further. So Ashley keeps blaming Jack for bringing up the blood Abbott clause. Okay, so let's go back a little bit here, because I was watching the soap when all this drama happened. Maybe not the past drama between Ashley and Jack. This time I was, I have been watching long enough to know exactly what was happening this time with Jack and Ashley. So basically, I guess about a year ago, when we had Dina, who started getting sicker and came out that she had Alzheimer's, Jack was still the CEO of Jabot. And on top of that, he was taking care of Dina. Ashley, who was not CEO, who at that point to me had not shown an interest in actually taking over as CEO, she won the Innovator of the Year award. And then suddenly we start to see her look at Jack and say, oh, well, you're spending too much time with Dina. You're not doing things the right way at Jabot. It's time for you to leave. And then at that point, she was trying to take over as CEO. And that's when Jack said, no, you can't, because guess what? There's a blood Abbott clause and you are not a blood Abbott. So here's the thing. What Jack did was kind of wrong. It was kind of really rude at times to bring that up suddenly, especially when he knew how much Ashley was struggling with it. But at the same time, Jack was already CEO at this point. To me, he seemed like he was still doing a good job with it. And it felt like Ashley just wanted to take over suddenly. And so she was going to use any excuse to take over and be in that position. So fast forward a year and we're here. And we find out that Ashley has tampered with DNA. Now, I am not surprised. I think that when she was trying to become CEO before and blame Jack on, say Jack wasn't doing a good job, say he was spending too much time with Dina. I think it was all to eventually get us here where we are, because I think the end game for Ashley was always, all right, well, I want to get CEO. It's not fair that just because I'm not a blood Abbott, I can't have it. So it sounds to me like what she did was far worse, number one. And number two, she's trying to spin it like Jack did all these horrible things to her. As long as I've been watching, that has not been the case. We have a couple of comments here. So, Hubby Joe, I like that Kyle came clean, he says. Demo, throwing Kyle under the bus will not help people to forgive Ashley. Exactly, okay, let's face it, yeah, what Kyle did was really wrong, but he came clean. Ashley came clean too, but there's a difference between, Kyle, definitely wrong. But I still feel like what Ashley did was worse, and bringing in Kyle's name into the situation instead of Ashley taking responsibility for what she did is pretty bad. So let's see, what else do we have here? Doolaman, they've been throwing her not being an Abbott in her face all year, knowing how devastating this is to her, and that's true. And you could see the way that Ashley, you could see the emotion that was going through her. Like, you could see how deeply this affected her. So I can understand where Ashley's coming from, but to see your brother go through something that you once went through when you found out you weren't an Abbott, and to just let it happen and not be there for him at all, because she really wasn't. I mean, kind of, sort of, but she should have told him the truth when she saw what he was going through. Honey Smile 320 says, Ashley's deception pushed Jack back to his pill addiction, but she was concerned about Billy's gambling. She is such a hypocrite. Yeah, exactly. She didn't step in to help Jack when he was really hitting rock bottom after he found out the news. But then, Kyle, don't do that to Billy. Don't push him to gamble. That's not right. I don't really get her. So is she basically just admitting, I like Billy better than I like Jack? Because to me, it just seems like she's very jealous of Jack, and that she just, is maybe not so much Billy, because maybe, I don't know, I guess because he's the younger brother. And I feel like when Ashley was talking to Billy, Jack in the beginning here, when she admits, I thought that putting Billy in, he would be easy and that he would remove the blood Abbott clause and then I'd be able to step in. So I feel like Ashley maybe just thinks that she has more, not control, but more influence over Billy than she does with Jack. And so she doesn't see him as a threat as much. So, Demo, yes, Ashley always has sympathy for Billy and always protects him. Doolaman, she has resentment for Jack she has never dealt with. Simone says Ashley's actions were worse and she benefited from Kyle's actions. Billy is a grown man. Whatever choices he makes are his own. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing is that it's not like they dropped this terrible news on Billy. Kyle just pushed like a gambling link in front of his face. And yeah, that's kind of messed up. That's like, if they were going to dangle a drink in front of Nikki's face, for example. But like you're saying, Billy is still a grown man. He can choose to, not gamble, even if he sees it right in front of his face. And he can also choose to get help. And let's not forget that Kyle wasn't the only one getting him back into gambling. It started with Summer, who had nothing to do with this as far as we know. Summer just needed to help pay back her own debts. And that's kind of how Billy started getting back into gambling. So whether Kyle sent these tournaments or not, for all we know, Billy could have been gambling in other places anyway, and he would have done the same thing. Not to say that what Kyle did was right, but it's just different. Demo says Ashley wanted Abby to support what she did, which is crazy. Yeah, absolutely crazy. Hubby Joe, Ashley thinks she's more qualified to run the company than Jack. And I don't think, so in all fairness, I don't think that Ashley was trying to say she was more qualified. I think she was trying to say she was an equal, that she was just as qualified. But I've never gotten from Jack that he thought that he was above her. Now, of course, this could have been something that he did before I was watching, or like years and years ago. As long as I've been watching, I've never gotten that vibe from him. I've always gotten the vibe that Jack feels like Ashley, I almost feel like he would even say that she's more qualified than him. But that doesn't change the fact that he was running Jabot. He was the CEO. I don't know for how long, but that was kind of like his baby and his project. And then I think Jack even brought up, like at one point, he almost sounded like he was surprised. This is going back a year, that she even wanted it because he felt like what she really wanted to do was be in the lab. So I don't get that vibe from him. Honey Smile 320, Ashley's very passive aggressive when it comes to Jack. She even went as far as to marry and have a child with his worst enemy, Victor. Yeah, well, yeah. So I feel like between, at least these days, between Jack and Ashley, I feel like she's more of the like emotional wild card. Not to say that it's bad to have emotions, because obviously it's not, but just the way that she handled this and went about it, it just didn't make sense at all. It was like she was saying, oh yeah, like I wanted revenge. And it's like, okay, if you would probably, like, obviously talking to Jack wasn't working, but there could have been other ways to go around doing this. Instead of all of this, paying off a guy to change the DNA. So in any case, as we go through the week, we see a lot of awkward moments. I'll mention this now. We're going to mention it again at the law moment, but Jack and Ashley, their fight didn't end up so well. It ended in a chair through a window, but we'll get to that at the law moment. We end up, Jack basically kind of ends the conversation with, he wouldn't even want to know her, let alone be related to her, because she just would not listen to him and just said that basically what she did was completely right. And I think that, like I said earlier, the worst part is what she did to Dina. That to me, like, it's one thing it's bad enough to change the DNA and have Andrew do it, but to manipulate someone who is going through, who has no understanding of what's going on, that's terrible. So we have Ashley saying, you blew up my life last Christmas, so I was going to blow up your life this Christmas and tell you the truth, which doesn't make any sense to me at all. It probably would have resulted in exactly this. And as I was watching this, I ended up writing in my notes, Jack didn't blow up her life. It wasn't like that. He didn't do anything vindictively or out of anger or malice. He just wanted to stay as CEO. That was it. He was already CEO. I don't really understand what the problem is here. She just all of a sudden, I want to be CEO, and I can't be because of the blood Abbott clause. Okay, no, Ashley, it doesn't mean you go and do all of this. So meanwhile, we have Tracy and Kyle and Abby, and Tracy, throughout this whole thing, she just wants her family to be okay. She doesn't want to deal with this drama. Neither does Abby, really, but Tracy's like, okay, you know what? Kyle, Abby, Ashley even, we just all need to, I don't know how, Tracy doesn't know how they're going to forgive Ashley, but she just knows that they need to get over it because she's lost Colleen. She knows Tracy's point, which is a very valid, good point, is you don't even realize, if you don't have your family member anymore, the way that she no longer has Colleen, Tracy would give anything to see Colleen again. So she's urging Kyle and Abby and everyone just to get along, because when you don't have those people, when they're permanently gone from your life and you no longer have any means of accessing them again, you would regret not having that relationship with them and not fixing things, which I think was a really good point. So then we went back and forth between Abby and Ashley, where basically Ashley just admits she has no remorse, and that's it. And she eventually apologizes to everyone but Jack. We see Billy come back into the picture. It was kind of funny. So the window, Jack threw the chair through the window, and then they had this all this is in my law moment, so I don't want to get into it too much right now, but basically there was a situation where the window was destroyed, and Billy comes back as they're kind of fixing the window, so it's still smashed. And we had some scenes with Ted, which were kind of funny and random. But Billy kind of mentioned he graduated to outpatient it was a situation where she was supposed to be done this week, But I don't know that Ashley, the actress, I don't know that she's actually finished on the show because they kind of left it hanging. It seemed like she was just going to move out of town is what they were doing with it. But Ashley didn't specifically say where she was going. With the kind of the last moment we had with her was her sitting in Crimson Lights, and you could see her thinking about, okay, what do I want to do? What's my next move? I don't know. And if she's leaving the show, I would imagine that it's, there's something that we're going to see. It would be kind of sad if that's the last scene and that's all we see of Ashley, and that they tell us next week in, some kind of dialogue, exposition, oh yeah, Ashley left, she moved, there's a note. Something like that. That would be really sad, but I guess I'm not surprised if that's how they're going to do it. Matthew Kennedy, what was really missing was Gloria, putting her 2 cents in. I don't know Ted. He has no history with the Abbotts. Yeah, the whole Ted is kind of like I don't know what's up with him. Maybe the actress who plays Gloria needed to go on vacation because Ted's just this random dude who just shows up like at the most awkward moments. He had his like Dunkin' Donuts iced coffee. I don't know if it was Dunkin' Donuts, but it was some kind of iced coffee. And he just comes in. He's like, "Whoa, look at the window. What did I miss?" And yeah, just Ted and his random one-liners. And we don't know Ted. I guess we're going to know Ted. I think he's kind of a funny, silly character already, even though he hasn't really said much. Honey Smile, it's freezing for me too. It keeps, okay. So I guess we're having some kind of freezing issue on the stream. Hopefully that fixes soon. I think we're back. Okay. Yeah, it looks like we're back. Oh, Todd Beaton, thank you for this. He says, Ashley leaves October 29th. So I guess that's next week, or well, no, that's a Monday. So we have like a week and then a day left of her, like 6 episodes. I will be really curious. I'm getting the feeling that she's getting ready to ditch town, and that's how they're going to do it with her. Honey Smile 320, Ted is comic relief. I believe Ashley got rid of Gloria when she became CEO. Okay, that makes sense. Well, I guess we're going to see Gloria back, and maybe Ted will be in IT next or something, or working with Gloria. Duelman, Kristen will be back. Okay. And then we get Susan Russo says, Gloria going to Days. Okay, interesting. So we'll have to find out what happens with that. So all of you guys in the chat, all of you guys who are watching and it's not live, obviously you like Young the Restless, and you probably like a lot of other soaps too. Just to let you know, our network produces after shows for nearly all your favorite TV shows, not just this show. We have dramas, reality TV, sci-fi, and more. There's no network that works harder to serve television fans, but we need your help. We're asking that you please subscribe to one or more of our YouTube channels. By subscribing to our channel, YouTube will suggest content that's tailor-made for you, and you'll help AfterBuzz continue to grow. And if you're worried about the pesky notifications, don't worry, because they're optional and you can turn them off, so you can subscribe without dealing with that. So go ahead and hit the subscribe button now for this channel, and go ahead and check out our other AfterBuzz channels as well. We've got plenty of them. Let us know that you did this, and I will mention you live on the air for subscribing. So thanks for now for being the best fans and for helping us be the ESPN of TV talk. So let's go ahead. Speaking of talk, if you would like to call in live, that is today it's October 21st and it is 5:38 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you want to call in live, the number to do that is 424-354-8302. Again, if you are listening live right now, you can call the number, which is 424-354-8302. I think we should jump into talking about Billy and Summer, because I honestly think, as I was saying, with that Ashley had her moment that I thought was bad, where we saw what she did to Dina, I honestly think I have not seen anything worse from any other character on this soap than what I heard Billy say to Phyllis today, or, as we were watching, about how, okay, let's start from the beginning here, and then we'll get into it. Thanks for calling Restless Rap. This is Rachel. Who do we have on the line?
Hi, Rachel. This is Bree. How are you?
Hey, Bree. I'm good. So I was just about to get into talking about Billy, and I just want to mention the worst thing I think I've ever heard, and I have it in caps, in green, underlined, and bolded. Billy, saying to Phyllis that he slept with Summer. Not only that, but that he did it because it was her daughter and because it was Nick's daughter, and he wanted to screw with the two. He said, I can't tell you how sweet it was getting it on with the daughter of the two people who screwed me. So, what do you think of this whole situation?
That was I was hoping she would punch him instead of slap him.
She should
at
have.
that point. But
Yeah.
it's the best revenge in a way, but it's like, it's disgusting in a way. Like, how dare you?
Yeah. So here's the thing is that he really, okay, forget Phyllis for a second. He just messed with some girl, I don't want to say girl, young woman who had feelings for him. He knew she had feelings for him. She's a lot younger than him. He just completely took advantage of her, manipulated her feelings for him, and then said, yep, P.S. Nope, no feelings for you, and did it right and said it right in front of her mother. So, But
you know what? I don't feel sorry for Summer because she should not have gone back and slept with her mother's boyfriend in the first place, whether they are broken up or not. He was just with your mom. That's disgusting.
Yeah.
And on top of which, she had no sympathy when it came towards her mother anyway. So for her to get her little heart broken, she knew what was coming with the type of guy with Billy. She's been saying that from the beginning of that storyline.
Yeah.
That's the reason why she was attracted to Billy. So I can't really feel bad for her. But Phyllis, I wish she could have punched him, or I wish she threw the chair at Billy.
She should have taken him and threw him through the window.
Exactly. Tossed him out the window, and then Ted would come back like, what happened to Billy here?
He's back in rehab. Physical rehab. No, I just couldn't believe. I mean, I agree with what you're saying about Summer. She had to have known. It felt wrong on so many levels when he went to her at the bar and said, yeah, hey, let's go sleep together. I want you. It obviously wasn't genuine, but just the fact hearing him say that, and then just, and saying, yeah, well, I think Phyllis said, what are you, a pig? And he's like, well, I've always been a pig. And it's like, okay. So.
But since I've watched The Young and the Restless, before Billy and Phyllis got together, they used to be enemies. Because he hated Phyllis with Jack, at least in the beginning when Billy Miller was playing Billy. And I knew this was going to be doomed to fail because any time Phyllis gets involved with either her enemy or a guy she knows is wrong with her or is wrong for her, she puts herself in this position.
Yeah.
She knows the type of guy Billy is. Same way Summer knew the type of guy Billy was. So I'm shocked at how he was just very blunt and open with it. Like he had no feelings whatsoever as to like how wrong it was. But at the same time, Phyllis knew exactly what she got herself into. I do not feel bad for Summer because she got exactly what she wanted. She wanted to sleep with Billy. Now she did.
Yeah.
And she can't be mad at it. She can't cry wolf when this is exactly what you wanted.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you for calling in.
Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
Yeah, have a good night. So, okay, we touched on Billy and Summer. I think that we have a little bit more to say here because this was I was in shock when Billy, okay, so obviously, obviously Summer knew what she was getting into. I still feel bad for her. I think for me, what's worse is how, as we were just saying, how Billy just said this to Phyllis. It just oh my God, how could you, why? It was just so blunt. He didn't care. He had talk about no remorse. He had no remorse. It was yeah. And he specifically and he had been the one he called Summer in. When Phyllis showed up, she said, hey, I got your text. So obviously Billy arranged it so that Summer and Phyllis would be in the room at the same time so he could hurt them both. And it was just so crazy. When I started watching the soap, Billy and Phyllis were already together. So this is, going on a couple of years now. they were together, so I've only known them together. I don't know. I've heard from looking up the recaps and like looking up other years. I've heard the kind of things he could do, so I'm sure he's done some pretty crummy things. This, to me, I was like, oh no, it's gonna be hard for me to ever find anything redeeming about Billy ever again, based on not just the words, but this is what I mean too. The acting this week was like on a whole other level, because the way that Billy played this character, it was realistic. It was realistic, but it was so like it really dug at you. Like, oh, how could this guy be this terrible? But there it is. And I mean, obviously Phyllis cheated. Well, okay, Phyllis will say we were on a break. Okay, fine, that may be true. But then that begs the question, maybe this is worse for Billy, because not only did Phyllis sleep with someone else, but it was Nick. And obviously Billy and Nick have this rivalry going back. We have a caller. This is Rachel with Restless Rap. Who's on the line?
Hi, this is Newman. How you doing?
Good, how about you?
I'm all right.
So, we're talking about Billy and Summer and Phyllis. What are your thoughts on this whole crazy situation?
I think it's absolutely disgusting, because there was a point in time when everybody thought that Summer was Jack's daughter.
Oh.
So that would have made her Billy's niece, Kyle's sister. It's all so disgusting and incestuous.
Can you just turn your volume down a little bit? Sorry.
Oh,
on your
I'm
stream.
sorry.
On your stream. I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, no. It's okay. So I'm sorry. You were saying?
I'm saying I think it's disgusting
Yeah.
that any of this is going on, because there was a point in time when everybody thought that Summer was was Jack's daughter, which would have made her Billy's niece, Kyle's sister. You know what I'm saying? So it's also disgusting and incestuous. I can't believe that they actually let this happen.
Yeah. Oh, and like just the idea of it, even if Summer is not Jack's daughter, which
Right, there
it's
was a
still
point in time that they thought he was.
Yeah, and just too, like, it's disgusting that he was sleeping with Phyllis and then he slept with her daughter. Like, how could like the whole thing is gross to me. But I still I feel like he took advantage of someone who, for whatever reason, good or bad, Summer had these feelings for him. But I feel like Billy just took advantage just to, specifically be malicious toward Phyllis. And
Yes,
he
I
took
agree.
advantage of someone. Like, I feel like even though Summer is an adult, I still see like this is Billy's girlfriend's child. So it just feels like he just so he just took advantage of someone's kid. Not that she is a kid, but it just, to me, that's how I see it as I'm watching this, because Billy's supposed to be older and be with Phyllis, and not that there's anything wrong with, people not being the same age if they're in a relationship, but this is Summer's mom, and it's just so gross.
Right. And like, honestly, how much older than Summer is Billy? I mean, he's known her since she was born. You know what I mean? So that's disgusting.
Yeah.
And also, I hate to tell him, but Nick and Victor, once they find out what's happening, they're going to come for his neck.
Yeah. Oh, man. Especially the way that Nick is now, and with Dark Horse. Yeah, no, he's.
I think that's what's going to bring Nick and Victor back together, is them plotting on how to get Billy.
Yeah, because we can see when Summer went to go visit Kyle, it actually made me feel good that she went to him. I want Summer and Kyle to be together. That's how I feel about that.
Yeah.
But they, you could just see how upset Summer was. Like, this was really, really messing with her.
Yeah, I'm with you. With the whole Summer and Kyle thing too. I want them. I just don't feel anything between him and Lola. I think it's forced. I don't think it's something that they just seem kind of boring together.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you.
Yeah, and have a great week.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so before we get to our law moment, let's touch a little bit more on just Let's see. All right, well, let's check in with the chat and then a little bit more, and then we'll get to our law moment. Honey Smile 320, when Summer gets pregnant and it comes out that she slept with Billy, then Nick and Victor will kill Billy. Yeah, that sounds about right. I didn't even think about that until Doolman said it. Hubby Joe, Nick and Victor will bury Billy in the park and find JT's body. Yes, that is exactly what should happen. On that note, let's kind of segue into JT really fast. Just to kind of get into Summer and Nick and everything too, while we're at it. So obviously Summer and Ray, or sorry, when I say Summer, I mean Sharon. I said the wrong name. Sharon and Ray have been getting kind of closer, but you're kind of getting a better sense that Sharon is probably just doing it because of this whole JT thing going on, because the other women kind of urged her to do it, to get more information from him. I don't know, but then there's also kind of this thing between them, as we kind of all sort of predicted. The women are, Nikki, Phyllis, blah, blah, blah. They're still getting these letters. Nikki decides to send a message by sending the blackmailer, instead of the $250,000, she sent him him or her $1 and called it a day. And the last message we got from them from the blackmailer was, well, if you don't give me 249.99, or 248 or whatever, or 249, I'm gonna reveal this picture to everyone, and they're gonna know that you buried the body here. And then we see, where they buried JT. So, Susan Russo asked, is Ray married? What we heard from him is that he may still be married. I didn't hear divorce, but that it didn't work out, that they're at least separated. So I think that's the situation right now with them. So there's that. Obviously tension between Lola and Kyle now, because Kyle ditched Lola to go and help Summer, which says how much he cares about Summer. I just think Summer needs to get her priorities straight, number one, and get her head, just get everything kind of back on track, because she's obviously not acting the right way here. Okay, so on that note, let's get to our law moment. This gets back to everything in the beginning when we were talking about the chair. I wrote in my notes, more like a moment so uncomfortable it was funny. Jack throwing the chair through the window. In the next episode, Ted walks in with his Dunkin' Donuts iced coffee. Looks like the Caruso brothers had a fight, and then Jack, in this very dramatic moment, it was me. And then later on, so then Arturo kind of gets involved in this, because he gets a message that he needs to go and, fix a remodel situation at Jabot, which is really funny. He goes, I gotta go. There seems to be a problem with my remodel at Jabot. And then he texts Abby trying to figure out what's going on. In the final episode with Dina and Kyle, so we have that. Then my final law moment is the final episode with Dina and Kyle. When they're trying to find whatever that piece of paper is that Dina's talking about, I have no idea. But it sounds like it may be something that kind of pins... maybe says that Ashley actually is an Abbott, which I don't know. Something that would protect her. I'm also thinking that maybe it has to do with some kind of inheritance money or something, so that she would go, like maybe John Abbott knew she wasn't an Abbott, so he was giving her some title or something so that she would be protected. Who knows? I guess we'll find out soon. But as they're doing this, and Dina goes, oh, well, here's the safe at Jabot. It's my birthday, of course. So Kyle is guessing her birth year. He knew her actual birthday. He's guessing the year, and he kind of looks at her like, yeah, you just turned... He doesn't finish the sentence, but I think he's trying to figure out in his head so he isn't insulting her. And then Dina, taps him on the back, very, playfully, and she goes... 38, of course, that's my age. I just thought it was a really tender moment. And on top of that, even I kind of was brought, not in a bad way, but I was just thinking, it just seemed like the two actors, they seem like they are on such a good, you could just see their energy together and how they have this good, friendship. I just could kind of feel like it was, they obviously get along in real life too, because the way that they played this, it actually felt like you were watching a grandson with his grandmother, and it was a really nice moment. Okay, so on that note, I think, let me just check and see if there's any other comments in the chat. Honey Smile 320, Sharon always ends up with the new guy and they fail miserably and she always ends up back with Nick. Yes, and I want her to get with Nick faster. I don't want it to take a long time. That was kind of sad for me because when I got into the soap, they were not together and I always wanted them to get back. And I think, let's see, Dooliman, I think she's actually an Abbott. Matthew Kennedy, me too. Okay, so on that note, I'm Rachel Goodman. You can find me on Twitter or Instagram at Rach Goodman. We also have a Restless Rap Facebook page. So if you go over to Facebook and search for Restless Rap, go ahead and like and follow. Any comments you post on there, I will gladly read on the air. I also post the link to the show on the day of the show, so you don't have to go searching for it. You can just go there. On that note, I hope you all have a great week, and stay tuned next week. We'll be back.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.